if everything went my way, that would be my tag that I would, that I would draw.
That is kind of like the coveted premier. Anything in that September, that archery window, it's it's really hard to describe. It really is until you get to experience it. It's special. It's special.
Yeah, and I'm in a weird spot right now with the draw coming up. I haven't applied yet. I'm trying to figure out what to do for that archery one. I'm not complaining about it, but luckily I got two really good elk tags out west that are in September, and I was like, do I put in and try to figure out how to squeeze it in, or do I buy a point?
Well, yeah. I mean, one of our jokes is a surefire way to draw a PA tag is to have a conflicting trip somewhere else.
Yeah.
We hear that very, very often. That's very common, guys. When folks draw, they come with us. Oh man, I have this other trip to Colorado. Or last year we had a fella that was on a moose hunt. Came home from his moose hunt and then immediately came up to us at elk camp back to back. So, but the beauty of it, you have the point option is there. The bonus point option is there. So, that's something that I think sometimes a lot of folks don't realize or know that that's out there is that, if you have a conflict already in place, whether it be another trip or maybe some kind of medical procedure or what have you, if you know that these dates are no good for me regardless, well, you can still gain the bonus point, and then next time you go to apply, you have it. So
Yeah.
that's something I think sometimes is underutilized.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably the responsible route that I should go, because I know that probably what would happen is like, okay,
Yeah.
I know I have certain dates I got to be somewhere else, and it's a good enough tag that I've spent a lot of points on. Also,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to run into that. But
Yeah.
what that is nice about PA, where you can apply for different seasons, and they're all on their own scale. So you can put point only in archery, but still apply for the November rifle hunt and then the late season hunt separately.
Yep. Yeah. So the application process really here in Pennsylvania is highly customizable. So when you would go to apply, whether it's at any point of sale or if you're doing it online, you have an archery season, then you have a general season, then a late season. So all three of those also have their own, for lack of a better term, bucket or pool of bonus points. So here in PA, you just don't have elk bonus points. You have elk archery bonus points, along with elk general bonus points and late elk bonus points. And they all apply only specifically to those seasons. So when you would go to apply, like just in your example, man, I have a couple conflicts in September. I'm going to go bonus point only in September, but then I can make all my regular picks for general and late season, because your calendar would essentially be open in that scenario. So when you go to apply, you can pick. You have to pick at least one zone, and you can pick up to 5. So when you go in and make your first choice, that can be it, or you can choose up to 5 zones. And then as you go through, at the end of your zone selection, there's going to be a pop-up called the fallback option. And I think we've talked about this before, and I know I talk about it to a lot of folks. Fallback essentially means no preference. It's kind of weird terminology. I don't know why it's called fallback and not no preference, but essentially that means no preference. So let's just say you make your one choice, your one zone choice, and then fallback means no preference. So yes, that was my one choice I'm forced to pick, but I will take any tag anywhere. I don't care. That's where then you can choose the fallback option. Now, if you do not choose fallback option, then you are essentially only in the drawing for that zone or zones up to 5 that you applied for. And that's a function of allowing guys to essentially protect or use their bonus points for tags or zones that they want, as opposed to somebody that's been in the drawing. This year, 21 points. 21 points, I think, is the most that somebody could have going into this year's drawing. So let's just say I have 21 points, and I know specifically I want to hunt in XYZ zones. That's it. I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to take a chance and burn my points up for drawing a tag in a zone that I'm not familiar with or don't want to hunt. So I would go choose my XYZ zone, but I'm not going to pick fallback then. So then that protects me and guarantees that. Now, at the same time, I'm now understanding and realizing that I am limiting my chances at drawing, because essentially I'm only applying for the tags that are available for those XYZ zones. I'm not really utilizing the entire power of my accumulated bonus points. I'm just focusing them there on those couple zones, if that makes sense. If folks can follow along with that. So
No. Oh, go ahead.
So it allows guys to kind of protect, and I keep saying that. Like, I mean, that's essentially what it is, though. I mean, some guys will be, hey, I'd rather not draw a tag than end up getting a tag for somewhere I don't necessarily want to hunt. And there's quite a few folks out there like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's like that's why I've only applied for bull tags in the first two of the seasons. You know, in the late season, I would be willing to hunt for a cow, but for the first two seasons, I only apply for bull. It's like, yeah, my odds would probably increase if I was willing to get a cow tag, you know, or either sex tag.
Statistically, they would, yes. Yeah. Yep.
So like that to me, but it's like, okay, that's not what I want out of it. There's other things I'd rather be doing at that time than hunting a cow. And that's just me personally and how I feel about it. But it's like, I understand I'm limiting myself there, but I think too, like with those bonus points, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way they work is it's a bonus point system where you square your points. So if you have 7 points, 7 times 7, you have 49 chances. Is that correct?
No,
that's
you have
not
7 chances.
Okay.
No. So there's no squaring or cubing or anything of our points here. At least not yet, or not now. It's just essentially, if you have 7 bonus points, your name is in there 7 times. If I have max points at this year, I think what I said was 21, my name's in there 21 times, as opposed to the guy who's applying for the first time. His name is only in there 1 time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, every year there are a few folks that draw on their first application. And a lot of times you see those in the archery and the late seasons. And that is because statistics. So those are the newest, youngest seasons. That we're going into the 5th year for archery and late season. So there's a lot more folks that are on the same playing field, so to speak, at that, as opposed to the general season where we're going into. I think this is our 2001 was this is our 23rd season going in. The first 2 years you couldn't get bonus points. So there's a lot more folks. Essentially, your better odds of drawing are archery and late season, and that's because there's statistically fewer people or everybody mostly has all the same bonus points. If that makes sense. So you do see folks that drawing on their first or second applications more so in those seasons than you do the general. Now, it still happens in the general also, but I shared a social media post a while ago on our Facebook page, and that Facebook's a whole nother thing that got me fired up lately. But I was able to find some data on the percentage of folks that applied and how many points they had, and then the points of the successful applicants also.